אך הנה עדיין יש להבין בחידוש הלבנה. We still need to understand now, in the renewal of the moon, lama techshach ora v'tismayet ora kol kach. Why does its light darken and lessen so much? Ad shelo yishar ba'or afilu k'nekuda achas, to the point where there's no light left at all, even like a point of light. V'achar kach ya'ir ba'or k'nekuda katana v'hi nikras molad halavana. And then it shines into it like one small point, and that's the birth of the moon. That's called the birth of the moon kid. Kidu, as is known, male ora be'emtza chodesh, until it gets filled with light in the middle of the month. V'chein chozeres chalila, and so too it does this again and again. Lismayit, to lessen, ad shelo yisher ba klum kidua, to the point where there's nothing left at all as is known. And if it's because it gets renewed light from the sun each Rosh Chodesh, lama lo tekabel hachidush bli miyut v'giron or betchila chulu? Why can it not just receive the light without lessening or taking any of its light first? Maybe it could just stay full the whole time and just get a renewed light each time. But the concept is, Amr Razal, our sages said, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Holy One, blessed be He, said, Aviu like a para, bring for me an atonement, al shimiyatiti es hayareach, since I made the moon smaller. Kmush Amar liyareach, just like He said to the moon, L'chiu maiti es atzmei, go and lessen yourself. V'tam yud hayareachu, and the reason for lessening the moon is lefi shekasher tzricha lekabel or chadash b'yitzchachus, that when it needs to receive a new light, in renewal, tzricha tchila lavo lebichinas habitul ba'atzmus ora hakadum, it first needs to come to a state of nullification in the essence of its light first, mikol v'kol, completely. And then it can receive a new ray of light. But while it's still with its old light, since it's then in a state of existence, it cannot then receive a new light because it does not have yet the bittul. It's not yet a cleave for it. We can see a similar thing. We can understand this thing from what we see with a grain that's sown in the earth. That while it's still in the earth in its full form, no wheat will sprout from it. But when the seed, so to speak, rots in the earth completely, and reaches a state of naught, and becomes included with the strength of growth that's within the earth, then the strength of growth that's within the earth is included within it. And you can grow many wheat from this. Much wheat from this strength. Because in order to have new wheat, you cannot have it unless you first have a state of nullification, which causes this renewal from nothing to something. Afterwards, and that is to a state of nullification of something to nothing. That was in the seed that sprouts to something from nothing. So too with the birth of a child from a drop, that you have to have 3 days with this drop gets grasped by the womb, and that in that time the drop becomes putrid or whatever. First, before the actual beginning of pregnancy. And so too with a hatchling of a bird, that gets formed in the egg, and as is known. And a comment on this, or Parshas Vayakel, B'dibur HaMaschil K'chu Mitchem Truma, Mashkas B'bir Pasuk B'midbar Sinai Bo'el Moed, Perek Dal Binyan Nichnas Le'ir Charei V'chulu. Look what it says, where he talks about when he enters a destroyed city. I'm not sure the reference. Look what it says in Torah Or in Yisro, where it talks about how Rabbi Zera fasted 100 fasts in order to forget Talmud Bavli, in order so that he should be able to receive the Talmud of the land of Israel, to reach a state of nullification first. And look what it says about in the Siddur Imdach, where it talks about Eliezer, that he was wondering about her and silent, meaning to say he had a state of bittul, gabe shikol aliyah, that anytime you have an elevation from one essence to another essence that's much higher than it, you have to first have a state of nullification and desolation, from the first thought and understanding. Look what it says in Pirush Panim Yafos on Parshas Vayishlach, when it says, I became small from all the kindnesses. That this is a similar concept, that first you have to become small before you receive higher kindness. Also, we can bring from what it says in another place about that he gives understanding to the rooster, to differentiate. Look what it says about the cup of savings is an empty cup. That you have to have a kli. And this it says about the Mikdash of Hashem, your hands made the foundation. And look at those different places about this idea of bittul first before you get hamshacha. From this you can understand allegorically, similarly, in any time you have a renewal, or a light that comes from above, from nothing to something, you cannot have it unless you first have a state of nullification of the existence first. And that's why our sages said about the haughty of spirit that they're in a complete state of existence for themselves, that they're called the abhorrent of Hashem, all those who are haughty or lifted up in their hearts. So what does Hashem say about them? Him and I cannot live in the same place, meaning to say they don't have the bittul, so they, so to speak, do not let Hashem in. Because you cannot have a dwelling of any new light from the godly light, Unless you have something that's in a complete state of nullification of its existence, like it's explained in another place. And so too you can understand with the renewal of the light of the moon, you cannot shine to it unless you first have the lessening of the moon, and that's why the moon has to lessen until the point where it does not have any light at all. And that's through that it receives the new light on the Rosh Chodesh. And that's the concept of the Korban on Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh. It's the elevation of Rosh Chodesh. Why is it a Korban Ola? Because the souls of Israel are going up to receive a new light, a new ray of light, that is a new combination of letters of the name of Hashem, Yud Ke Vav Ke, of the 12 combinations. Like it says, the Korban Ola of the month in its month, meaning to say the elevation of each month in its month, that it receives a new light, and then the likeness of the moon below. And the Zohar talks about the concept of the renewal of the moon in Parshas Pinchas, where it talks about the Korbanos of Rosh Chodesh. B'suf Parshas Achrei, Daf Ayin Tes Amud Beis. Now, nonetheless, when the moon goes up to receive this reflected light, it first has to be in a state of, in its smallest state, and after that we bring on Rosh Chodesh the Korban, which is the elevation after it has become small, and that you cannot have this elevation without becoming small, first, like was explained. And this is why the pasuk says, and it will be in each month, all flesh will come to bow down to me in front of me, says Hashem. So why does it say that? What does it mean to bow down? It's this state of nullification and of existence completely. In front of me, and before you receive the light of the new combination from the name of Hashem. Haga, and then comment on this. And also, to bow down is not just a state of nullification, but it also hints to bringing down. You bow down exemplifies the bringing down of the Hamshacha. Or Parshas Vayeshiv, and where it talks about how the Shvatim in Yosef's dream were gathering sheaves, with the concept of that they bowed down to my sheath of wheat, that of Yosef, that they were mamshich from Yosef. So again, we're actually talking about the Yud Beis Gvulei Alochson, the Shvatim from Yosef, Tzadik Elyon. So it's actually the same concept as we're discussing here with the 12 months. And then he brought this Zohar right before. Like a para, it explains the statement, bring for me an atonement. What does it say? Alai kapara, upon me a kapara. That Chana davened on Havaya, again, al, upon. Al dafka specifically, V'kemoshekazu gamkein, Suf Pashas Achrei, Tafayin Tes Beis, Vimkin, so what does this mean? Perush Shaviu alai, bring upon me, that the moon should be elevated. So alai kapara for the moon to go up, and for Chana, who's the tefillah, the concept of malchus as well, to go up. Allied, meaning to say an elevation, an aliyah. For the moon to receive a light that's beyond the concept of the name of Hashem. So alai kapara al havaya, meaning to say higher than havaya. You're drawing down from beyond the Shem havaya. So it's not just getting that seed of Shem havaya, but you're drawing down from even higher. And that's why it's called the crown of beauty. So I guess if the masculine aspect is Zah or Tiferes, the Ateres Tiferes is the Kesser of that you're drawing down. So Shem Havaya corresponds with the Zah, and the Ateres Tiferes would be the crown of it, I guess. Look what it says about Vinisko, about the wine on that you pour on the Musaf of Rosh Chodesh. I guess hints to some kind of Hamshacha like this as well.